If you're over 25 and still living like this, you're not building wealth, you're building a financial trap that will keep you working for the next 40 years. And the worst part, you probably think you're doing everything right. Right now, your life probably looks fine. You have a steady income, you pay your bills, you're not struggling the way you used to. And because of that, you assume you're moving forward. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Looking stable is not the same as being secure, because what feels like progress on the surface is often just a well maintained routine underneath. You wake up, you work, you earn, you spend, and you repeat day after day, month after month, and slowly, without realizing it, your entire life gets built around one thing: your paycheck. At first, it doesn't feel dangerous. It feels responsible. You're doing what everyone told you to do. Be consistent, be disciplined. Be practical, but what no one tells you is that this safe path has a hidden cost. It quietly removes your flexibility. Because the more stable your lifestyle becomes, the harder it becomes to change it. Think about how your expenses have evolved. At 22, you could survive on very little. At 25, your standards increased. At 28, your life got more structured. Better living space, better food, more commitments, more expectations. None of these are bad, but together, they create something powerful: dependence. Now your income doesn't just support your life, it controls it. Because if that income stops, everything else starts shaking. And that's the moment most people realize they're not as secure as they thought. But by then, it's harder to change because now you have responsibilities. And responsibilities make risk feel dangerous. So instead of questioning the system, you adapt to it. You tell yourself things like, I'll save more when I earn more. I'll invest once things are stable. I'll figure it out later. But later is where the trap tightens, because later usually comes with more expenses, more pressure, less time. And the biggest mistake? Believing that earning more money will solve everything. It won't. In fact, for most people, it makes things worse. Because when your income increases, your lifestyle quietly follows. You don't notice it at first. It's small changes, slight upgrades, better choices, more convenience. But over time, those small changes become permanent. And now you need more money just to maintain the same life. That's not growth, that's inflation in your personal life. And once that pattern sets in, it becomes your default behavior. Earn more, spend more, feel stuck. Repeat. Now, here's something that changes everything: wealth is not built by how much you earn, it's built by what you keep and what you grow. But most people after 25 never shift their focus to this. They stay locked in the earning mindset: more hours, more effort, more stress, hoping that eventually it will be enough. But enough keeps moving because your lifestyle keeps expanding and your expectations keep rising. So even when you hit a new level, it doesn't feel like freedom. It just feels like a new baseline. That's why so many people feel stuck, even when they're doing well, because they're running on a treadmill, putting in effort, but not actually moving forward. Now, pause for a second and think about this honestly. If your job disappeared today, how long could your current life continue? Not survival, your current lifestyle. The answer to that question reveals your real financial position. And for most people, it's not a comfortable answer because deep down, they know everything depends on one source: one income, one system, one routine. And anything that depends on one thing is fragile. That's not security. That's risk disguised as stability. Real security looks different. It doesn't rely on one source. It doesn't collapse with one change. It grows quietly in the background through investments, through assets, through systems that don't require constant effort. But building that kind of security requires a different mindset. It requires you to stop thinking short term, because most financial decisions people make are based on how they feel right now. I want this. I can afford this. But the real question is, what is this decision doing to your future? Every time you choose convenience over growth, you're paying with time. Every time you delay investing, you're delaying freedom. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle too early, you're increasing your dependence. And these decisions don't feel big in the moment. They feel small, insignificant. But over years, they shape everything. This is where the real difference is created, not in one big move, but in consistent small choices. One person decides to invest early, another delays. One builds multiple income streams, another relies on one. One controls their lifestyle, another upgrades constantly. At first, there's no visible difference, but over time, the gap becomes massive because money follows patterns. And now here's the part most people ignore. Building wealth is not exciting. It's not fast. It's not flashy. It's quiet. It requires patience, consistency, discipline. And in a world where everything is instant, that feels uncomfortable. So people avoid it. They choose visible success over real progress. They focus on looking successful instead of becoming secure. And that's why the trap continues. Because from the outside, everything looks fine. But inside, there's pressure. Pressure to keep earning. Pressure to maintain the lifestyle. Pressure to not fall behind. And pressure is not freedom. Freedom is when your life doesn't depend on constant effort. Freedom is when your money supports you instead of the other way around. Freedom is when you have options, and options only come from one thing: control, control over your income, control over your decisions. And that control is built, not earned. You don't get it from a job, you build it through systems. Small at first, maybe a simple investment, maybe a side income, maybe learning how money actually works. It won't feel life changing in the beginning, but over time, it changes everything. Because while most people stay dependent, while most people stay stuck in one cycle, you start building multiple paths. And slowly, your life becomes less fragile, less stressful, more flexible. That's when you realize the goal was never just to earn money, it was to stop needing it constantly. And that shift is what separates people who stay stuck from people who break free. Because in the end, the biggest lie people believe after 25 is that they're on the right track, just because things feel stable. But stability without growth is just a comfortable trap. And the longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to leave. So the real question is not, are you earning enough? It's, are you building something that will eventually free you? Because if the answer is no, then no matter how good things look right now, you're not moving forward. You're just standing still in a very convincing way. And once you see that clearly, you can't go back to thinking the same way again. That's where everything begins to change.